We are back with Criminal Minds Evolution. This is the one place on the internet where every week we chat about the new episode of Criminal Minds. Now, I'm usually a big fan of the show, and I've been really enjoying this reboot. But having said that, episode 4 might be the worst episode of a TV show I have ever seen. They wasted so much time with storylines I couldn't care less about, and I'm not exactly sure how it happened. So yeah, I get a bit annoyed this episode. I'll apologise about that in advance. Well, maybe that's a bit of an understatement. I think this video sees me in the worst mood I've ever been in. I was so annoyed by the bad writing. You'll see, we'll get to it. But before we get into that, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. You can always unsubscribe at a later date if you don't like what I'm posting. It's completely free. And no hard feelings if you want to go at a later date. Right then, anyway, showtime.
It's showtime, folks.
The team are after Sicarius, not to be confused with Cicada from Slow Horses, or Sicario from the local DVD bargain bin. He's the unsub, otherwise known as Elias. In the previous episode, we were led to believe that Elias was the guy in charge, but according to a part in the beginning of this episode, it seems like he's being bossed around by a ghost. Well, that's new. Prentice and Aisha Tyler talk about the guy they arrested at the end of the previous episode. He basically went undercover as a killer so that he could backstab Elias and take him down. I love how Prentice casually went, "What about his dead sister?" Imagine if they'd left the speaker on by accident and he sat there, and all he can hear is him chatting about his sister dying so casually.
What do we know about his dead sister?
They send Penelope in to chat with the guy because he needs there to have a meatier role other than being the person sat at the computer. And this episode doesn't have a lot to do, so we need to time waste as much as possible. We cut to Will and JJ's house, and it's amazing how boring they make William. Their relationship is on the rocks, so we're not meant to like him as much as we're used to, I think. I should have looked it up to see if something was wrong with him before I said this, but why does he sound like everyone does when you accidentally knock on the half-speed setting on Netflix?
It takes two to tango.
God, he talks slow. A couple go on holiday, and they're interrupted by a motion sensor camera where they can see a man without a face jumping on the furniture. I laughed initially, but then it became clear that he'd broken into the house for doing something more than jumping on the furniture. They were clearly stuck for things to do this episode because they decided to give the guy whose sister died a cognitive interview to give him his memory back. Wow, the writer's room must have been really bored that day. They really had no plans for this episode and panicked. That's why they told Will to speak really slowly. It was to fill up the runtime. Who cares about this guy enough to watch him have a cognitive interview? I know I don't. I wish I could skip over this storyline. I realise that this is Criminal Minds' first time making a storyline last over a bunch of episodes, but this is pathetic. Try harder, Criminal Minds. We cut back to another scene with Will and JJ, as if we weren't wasting enough time already with that stupid cognitive interview. Oh, I feel so safe with you at home. No, I feel so safe with you at home. I hate you both. Go and be cute somewhere else. I don't want to see this rubbish. Two kids try to break into a house dressed as an Amazon delivery driver. One is in the van, and the other is walking up to it. He puts the camera hat on, faces the front door, and says, "Where do I go from here?" Did you not plan this beforehand? Seriously, what was the plan? Go up to the front door and then I'll tell you what the next step is. What's this rubbish? This episode is so poorly written, it's pathetic. It's making me angry. Great, now we have to waste time on giving that guy a cognitive interview. I don't care. Skip. By the looks of it, the writer for this episode is a man named Christopher Barber. Shame on you, Chris. You're a crap writer. There's one thing you can never justify, and that's bad writing. All you have to do is not be a crap writer. It's really easy. But this guy failed. He apparently has written 7 other episodes, but they were later season ones, so that probably explains why I don't remember them. The most stereotypical, dull police officers to ever wear a badge on screen, then walk up to the house that the Amazon delivery driver broke into earlier. They even have a bit of banter to make us feel sorry for them when they die. I would feel sorry for them if they was written better. It's like when a police officer appears on Corrie And the acting is awful because the guy is clearly chuffed. He's dressed like a police officer, and all that's going through his mind is going, I am a police officer, I am a police officer. Oh god, I had to deliver lines. It was like that. They overacted and underperformed. But I can't blame their acting. The bad writing didn't help them. The team go to the house and hear someone's voice in the safe room saying, get ready, they're coming. They casually walk into the safe room because everyone is stupid in this episode due to the crap writer controlling them. And it turns out to be on a speaker on the ground. How can you not tell the difference between a speaker and someone talking in the adjacent room? These are meant to be the FBI's finest. Not only do they casually walk to their death, because they could have a gun for all they know, but they're tricked by a Bluetooth speaker. Bad writing, that's all I can say.
Oh, Dave.
It distracted me every time someone called Rossi Dave, because all I could hear was Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, Dave.
The kids break into their dad's home and go to kill their stepmother. It turns out their dad works for Vought from The Boys. For some reason, someone applied the sticker on the door upside down. I'll tell you what, you know I haven't been impressed with the writing this episode, but the acting of the two unsubs is pretty poor as well. It seems like they got the actors the same place he got the writer. They approached the first people he saw on the street outside the studio and went, you, you're on the team, you'll do. The kid delivered a line, which I think when the writer wrote it, he was thinking, this will be one of those chilling Criminal Minds moments that people will remember forever. Like when Hotch's kid hid in the box, or when that woman took a selfie of the unsub and he was in the window behind her. But it just wasn't one of those moments. It was poorly written and poorly delivered. We then end with Will being really boring and we're meant to care that he has cancer. Under a more competent writer, I would care, but they really dropped the ball on this one. I was genuinely happy to see the credits roll. You know what? That was a terrible episode. Such a shame as well, because the previous episode was actually really good. The writing let the side down big time, and I hope Christopher Barber is never allowed near the writer's room again. What a poor performance by everyone involved. This episode will be completely forgotten by all of us in a week from now, but I hope the writer remembers how terrible this was. I hope it sticks with him. To make sure it wasn't just me who hated this episode, I went on TV Time to see what other people thought. The first 3 episodes were relatively well received, but this episode has a 34% bad rating. I think that speaks for itself. Right, so I've done a bit more research on this Christopher Barber fellow, the writer for the episode, and he's not written anything of note before. He's written an episode of Crossing Jordan, some Criminal Minds, and CSI. I struggle to see how he was qualified enough to get this job. Oh, but he is an executive producer on Blankety Blank, so he has that going for him, I guess. I can't believe how annoyed I am at how terrible this episode was. I just wasted 45 minutes of my life. This has now put me in a bad mood. I meant to go to work in this mood. Right, we're gonna call it a day. I need to go and cheer up. Please stick around for the meme of the day at the very end. Right, before you go, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. You can always unsubscribe at a later date. If you don't like what I'm posting, it's completely free and no hard feelings if you want to go at a later date. Go and watch these other videos I've done on Criminal Minds. They're much more positive, I promise. I'm a big fan of the show, hence why I was so disappointed by this episode. This is the meme of the day. Alright, I'll let you go now. Right, bye.